I mean, if you think about it, you've run as far as you've ever run before. You've reached 25 miles.
Further,
so
a lot further.
even if you had quit, it wouldn't have been an L necessarily. But I do think that it might have just stuck in the back of your mind.
Would have.
And
yeah.
it would have affected your confidence heading into the 100-miler
Mm-hmm.
that you have planned. But it was like a movie, literally, and I'm not even exaggerating, when Sean came in and looked at Josh, and Sean didn't tell everybody this. There were some people that he said, no, you can't do it, and you can't make it. Like, Sean was giving people his best advice, but he looked at Josh and said, Josh was there. It was 2:20. No, it wasn't 2:20. It was like 12:20.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah.
It was 12:20. Josh had until 3:30 to complete it. So you had plenty of time given your pace thus far.
Yeah.
And Sean came in, kind of reminded me of like Matthew McConaughey for some reason, and just looked at you and he's like, hey, he's like, gently but also firmly, like, say, you're not done. Josh?
Oh, it's been like, what year is it? It's 10 years.
Yeah, I think we've known each
Right.
other for 10 years. 2011, right? So 11 years.
Yeah, like, well, it was like probably the end. It was probably 2012.
Yeah, 2012.
I thought because
yeah,
it was your sophomore year, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, I was all my friends had graduated. I had like an extra year here at the university, and I was coming back. I had a place secured at the Domain, and I get there. I get into town, and they tell me I don't have an apartment, and so I don't know. I got kind of. It's unlike me, but I got kind of angry on the phone with them, and they're like, "Yeah, we could. You're gonna have to pay re-signing fees, but we'll get you in with another apartment with 4 or 3 guys." And it was Brenton and Tyler and Kevin, and that's where the magic began.
I always tell people the story, like, the first day you pulled in, because
they thought they were in for it.
Yeah, we thought we were in for it.
They got a worse roommate than the one before.
Yeah, so Tyler, Kevin, and I were all from the same hometown, and we thought that we basically had this apartment, like, to ourselves. Like, it was just the 3 of us in a 4-bedroom. The first guy had drugs on him, so I think one of us ratted on him and he got kicked out.
Wasn't he like hiding the drugs in Kevin's room?
Yeah, I think that was the issue. He had like drugs
It wasn't like
with him, but he put it in Kevin's desk while he would leave the apartment.
Perfect.
So that was sketchy. So we had to get rid of him. And then we go a couple weeks with no roommate, and next thing we know, there's this white Jeep pulling up with this like kind of dark complected dude in the tank top.
I thought you were going to say white guy. There's this white guy pulling up.
Yeah, him and Garen come in looking like, you know, the biggest partiers you've ever seen, and he has jersey plates.
It was the summer still.
Oh, yeah. You know, and Josh had on like a tank top and his big muscles, and I was like, oh, man, I immediately judged him. And I was so nervous he was going to be a douche, but he wasn't.
Yeah, I like brought my mattress in and like a couple things, and then I came in with like a handle or like a 30 racket natty light or something, like a bunch of beer.
Yeah.
And just left.
Yeah. So I was just like hoping for the best, but I also was like so sheltered from my small town.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met you and we had conversations and you talked like so quietly in such a low voice, and you told me you're from northern New Jersey, that's what clicked in my head. I was like, oh, okay, people from northern New Jersey are cool. So that's what I told everyone.
That's not a thing. There's bad people everywhere. There's shitty people.
Well,
or there's good people everywhere. It's just, I don't know.
Well, that's what I mean. Like at the time, like I was just coming out of this like small town mentality and had one image of what a Jersey person looked like. And it was like Jersey Shore, like loud and rambunctious.
Fist bumping.
And, fist bumping, and the HVAC just came on. But
that's fine. These are good mics.
Yeah, so that's how we met. We were roommates for a couple years, right? Pretty much until you finished up.
Just a year.
Oh, yeah. It was just a year.
But
I guess
did
it just
finish
feels
up.
like a couple years because
I didn't really finish up, though. I
yeah.
came back again.
Yeah.
But it was a year. we did together.
It was just a
at
year.
Domain.
That's
Yeah,
so
see,
crazy.
a
It was
lot
only a
happened.
year because it
Yeah.
feels like I was a roommate with. I guess because we've just known each other for so long and we've stayed connected.
Yeah.
It feels like the roommate period was longer than a year.
Yeah. Your wedding. It's like a lot
Well, plus you had
that we did
roommate
together.
time with Tyler for many years after, and so
That's true.
yeah, I'm
Tyler
probably
and I have
double
been
counting in
roommates.
my head.
Yeah. We've been roommates for a long time. But
Like you guys could almost be married, like
I told him I would marry him if there was ever an instance
if you
where
had to.
like he didn't have health insurance or something. I was like, I will marry you for the
for the
for
benefits.
the benefits. Yeah.
Marriage with benefits.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't even neither of us wants to get married really, but
Yeah.
but we would marry each other on paper.
Well, Tyler, I think the offer still stands.
It does.
This is hilarious. We're doing this on my back porch.
I mean,
Like there's somebody walking their dog right
It
now.
was really humid today, but it's nice right now.
Yeah, hopefully the lens doesn't fog up again. We'll see.
You know, so yeah, we'll see.
So you did a thing yesterday. I guess
2 days
before we
ago.
get into that. Oh, that was 2 days ago already?
It's Saturday. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a blur because I was like, did not sleep at all.
Yeah, blur for me too. So, yeah, I'll let you talk about it. I mean, what'd you do?
I ran 33 miles. Not just miles, but like rocky, hilly mountain miles.
Yeah.
In 80 degree or 80 feels like 86 degree weather. It was really humid, so it was a test.
Yeah, my watch said 91, but I was in the shade. So I guess those pieces where you were in direct sunlight, it was in the 90s.
It was scary. Yeah, that last lap was scary.
It's pretty insane.
But yeah, I signed up for 50K in March, and this is like one step in my training going forward for an 100-miler. That's not how you would say that. Can we cut that out?
Yeah, we'll cut that out.
You're gonna leave that
Restart
shit
the
in.
sentence.
You're gonna leave
from,
it in.
We're gonna. It's one step in my training. That's the sentence
So-
that you're saying.
So this 50K is just a step in my training for an 100
A 100
mile race,
ultra, right?
marathon.
Yeah.
Kind of same type of terrain, maybe not as bad, but in Fayetteville, West Virginia, in November, the beginning of November.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder what the elevation difference is compared to the Cooper's Rock
I
State
should
Forest
look that
one.
up. I forgot what the gain and because you end up at about the same. I'm not sure.
Is the Rim
but-
to River Trail
Let
like
me
defined?
Yeah,
like you know that one ahead of
yes,
time.
but it's there's a lot of like so you've been to Long Point.
Yeah.
You go out to Long Point and you grab a tag so that they know you were there
Okay.
and come back. So it's like some things are like that. There's
okay.
there's
So
one
you have
aid
like
station you hit
spurs where
twice.
you go out and in.
Yeah, it's there. It's like weaving through the wilderness there. A lot of Ace Resort you go through, but
Oh, cool.
yeah, it's a lot of not repeating, but like you're crossing over. There's like a couple aid stations you hit twice. Let me see if I can find the course. The details.
So I guess while you're looking that up, I'm interested to know what inspired you. And I know a little bit of the backstory, but I think our audience would like to hear what inspired you to just start doing these really insane long runs. I mean, it's one thing to sign up for a marathon having never done a marathon before. It's another thing to sign up for a 50K, which is a 33 ultra,
anything but a turkey trot before.
which was 3 miles.
3.1, yeah.
So you've gone from 5K to 50K,
Yeah.
and you're
And
like,
not like the 5Ks I've run are like in like neighborhoods, like in
Flat
like,
land.
like
no rocks.
yeah, in the suburbs,
Normal
of Maryland
shoes.
or something. You know, it's
Yeah.
like no, I always run them in Vibrams, but
Oh, really?
always in 5 fingers.
Oh, okay.
But it's just it was just always on pavement.
Nice.
So
Okay. I didn't realize you had the Virums for that long. That's
yeah,
cool.
I've had like some other pairs, but yeah.
Nice. So yeah, you went from a 5K to a 50K, and I guess did you find the
I think
elevation?
it's 13,000
Okay.
total.
Gain, like
It
difference?
says, I don't know. It says
Okay, because
100
I think
miles, 84 miles of trail, 6 miles of dirt road, 10 miles of paved road, 13,000 feet ascent, 13,000 feet descent.
okay, yeah, so that makes sense. I think what you just ran was like 5,000,
Yeah, no, it's 5,500 on my watch.
5,500.
Something
Okay,
like that.
okay,
Closer to there. It was
yeah,
just shy of like 6,000. That's what they were like advertising.
yeah. So you're covering a lot more ground with the 100 miler. You have a lot more time, so
Yeah.
you'll be doing more climbing. That was the other thing that I think I was talking to Sean about, one of your coaches.
Yeah.
He was describing how like elevation gain over 100 miles is a lot different than elevation gain just over 33
Yeah.
miles. You know,
Yeah, this is going to be like twice the elevation, but it's over
a longer
3 times the
yeah.
and also some of those trails are, I know some of those trails, and they're not nearly as technical as the ones I was doing 2 days ago. They were like really washed out and rocky and like boulders and stuff. There was like parts there was no way you were walking or you were running,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
'Cause
not
you
without
had
falling.
to walk. Yeah, or turning an ankle or something. So
Right.
I don't know.
That makes sense. So I was really lucky, and we'll get into like what inspired you, because I think that's a much bigger conversation. But just talking about this 50K,
Mm-hmm.
Josh texted Brandon and I to Brandon's another friend of ours the night before and was like, hey, you know, if you guys want to track me, I can send you a link. And I don't think you expected us to come at all.
I didn't know. No, not for sure.
Yeah.
I was figuring out last minute if you could even track my watch. So it was like
Yeah.
it was cool that I figured that out, and then I just sent it to a bunch of people. But yeah, it was a pretty cool feature.
Yeah, and then Brandon sends a text to our group text the night before, and he's like, so are you definitely like going to this thing
For
around
sunrise?
sunrise? And I'm like, I said, yeah, I definitely am. And then he just commits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sweet, I guess we're doing it. So I pull in and I got my GoPro out and I have a little vlog,
Yeah.
you know, that you guys can watch, and captured a little bit of that pre-race anxiety that you had.
Yeah.
So what was it like being in that moment? Like, what were you?
Honestly,
you
the
seem pretty.
pre-race anxiety did not touch like the anxiety that has been building up for like weeks now. I just have like had an immense amount of anxiety, and like I could not pin it on one thing. And I have like a lot of other stuff in my life, but I think this was like the underlying thing. And it's just like the unknown of like never having run something this long and technical, and the weather. There was so many factors, and
Safety.
I was just, I'm running it by myself, and I don't know. It was like a lot, and I don't know. It was building up, and yeah, I didn't sleep hardly an hour, if that, the night before.
Yeah. Yeah, I only got a couple hours of sleep because I was scared to death that I was going to oversleep and that I would miss the beginning, even though it would have been fine.
Yeah, I actually texted my roommate because he plays Dungeons and Dragons on Friday, and I love him to death. He's awesome. He just was being real loud up there, and I was like, dude, I can't sleep, and I'm scared to put earplugs in because I'm gonna miss my alarm, because like I did not want to miss this race. But even after he went to sleep, I just could not sleep. I just was like, it was pointless to even text him because I wasn't gonna sleep, I don't think. I don't know.
Yeah, so I remember when we got there, you saw Sean, and you first thing you told him was, man, I didn't really sleep at all last night.
Yeah.
And he looked at
Well,
you and he said, good. Like, what
Good,
did you
yeah,
think
yeah.
about that?
I don't know, because like I was out of it, but I don't know Sean that well. But from what I know, he's just, I don't know. He's like, I don't know how to describe
He
Sean.
seems like a very legitimate, just passionate dude. Like, he
yeah,
definitely
he's a motivator.
believes
And I
everything
didn't-
he says.
Yeah,
And he's a motivator. And I remember him,
I didn't know.
I think he was hoping to give you
Saturday.
reassurance.
Yeah,
Like he said, good. It's a good thing that you didn't sleep well last night, because that means, you're prepared. Essentially, he's like,
Yeah.
nobody who does well sleeps well the night before. Like, you need some measure of anxiety to perform well, and I've heard that from other people
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, anxiety's not bad. It's just the way it
Yeah.
presents itself in some of our lives. It's just we let it. I don't know.
Yeah. There's
Take over.
definitely different forms of stress. Some that are damaging, and some that are useful for preparation, I
Mhm.
guess. But no matter what, not sleeping feels terrible. So
Yeah, just because like it's like this compounding thing. Like you're in your head already, and then you're in your head about like I needed this sleep to like get this race, like be good for this race, and I don't know. It's just like
yeah.
your thoughts are your enemy sometimes. It's just
Yeah.
like you wish you
Layers of
could
stress.
just not think about this stuff. You could just go into it.
So I'm guessing that after you went and got your paperwork, like, when did it feel real that, like, okay, this is finally happening? Because you had weeks and weeks of anticipation. You've never run anything even close to this far before.
No.
Maybe a little bit further than half as long, perhaps.
Yeah, I've run maybe like a half marathon by myself.
Right. So was there a point in the day where you felt like, okay, I'm doing this thing? Was that earlier in the race, later in
No,
the race?
it was pretty near the beginning, and it was like a lot of relief too, because all that anxiety before the race is all like, I think it's all bent on like the unknown, but like in so many instances for me in my life, like once I'm in that activity, it's like it goes away. It's just like I know I could like it's not even that I know I could finish. It's just that I'm in it, and whatever happens, happens. It's like it's happening, and that's, I don't know. It's just a
Yeah.
relief for me that like I know I'm not gonna die. I'm just out there doing it.
Yeah.
I'm in it.
No, it makes total sense.
It's weird.
I've heard people talk about it before. Like, one of the biggest things that I always tell myself and tell other people just in conversations when talking about stress or anxiety is just find ways to reduce the uncertainty. And and the only way that I think you could have accomplished that is to do what you did, and you just stepped right into it and decided to do it.
I guess
So I want to talk about what happened. This race was four long laps, like 4 8-mile loops.
Yeah.
8 mile plus
which I did
loops.
not know until a few days before.
Really?
I was under the assumption, because I knew that the course was like a mystery because they set it up different each year, I think. Or no, I think maybe, well, this is the first year of Rattlerock.
Right.
So it was obviously going to be a mystery. But I was under the impression, I don't know, I didn't really research, but that it was going to be like one long race with a bunch of aid stations. And what it turned out to be was like 8+ mile loops with like an aid station at the start and an aid station at 4 miles ish in the middle.
Yeah.
So
yeah, which if you guys aren't familiar with a lot of races, from what I've been told, they will reveal the footprint beforehand, and everybody can study the trail and they know what's coming.
yeah,
But with this race, it was kind of a secret, and you didn't know until you raced the race where the markers were and what was going on. And so, only every 4 miles, it's kind of like being on the turnpike looking for a gas station.
Yeah.
You got to make it another 4 miles before you can get food, water, anything else.
And when I found out that it was a loop race, I was like immediately like, this is gonna be bad. Like I'm gonna like have to pass, like go and then go do another lap, and
So
and
that
know
added on
what's
to your
coming.
anxiety.
But like honestly, there's pros and cons for sure. Like that's a thing. You know what's coming, so it's you know how bad it's gonna be, but you also know what to expect. Like what pace to do in what areas, because you have done it already. You can kind of like plan out your hydration and your food a little bit, and like just kind of like, I don't know, you have like a kind of like a little stepping stone too. You could be like, I'm gonna get back to home again, and then figure it out from there. Like you don't have to take it like bite sizes and not take it like all at once.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because if it was all unknown, you know, it would be a different story. Maybe
Right.
that was maybe laps aren't so bad. You know,
Right.
I thought they were like the worst thing ever when I figured it out that it was laps. You know, but I don't know.
Yeah, that makes total sense because, you know, the way they designed the race was amazing because the start line and which was also the finish line as you went around through the lap, they had a drum there that they were beating.
Yeah, I love that.
And so many of the racers were saying that they could hear the drum from far away, and that was motivating to them.
Yeah.
And you would get greeted every time you came through, and then they were like, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Awesome volunteers there helping
Oh my
people
gosh,
out.
they were filling up my water bladder and like asking me what I needed and stuff, and I'm just like pounding peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and watermelon and crackers, and it was like,
you got to see
it's such a blur
there.
though, you know, because you're trying to figure out how much time you're supposed to spend there too, and like I don't know, it's just
and you didn't have any like bathroom breaks, right?
I took one in the woods, and I did not pee that much.
Yeah.
You know, and I took one at the like finish line or the start line, whatever.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying, I drank like 16, 18 liters of water and did not, like, it just disappeared because it was so hot.
Yeah.
I was so drenched and disgusting.
Dang, man. That's wild. So
no, it's wild because I was like, am I hydrating correctly? I have no experience with this.
You just, constantly second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, let's talk about the climax or the problem of the story. I guess the third lap, you come in, you're 75% done, and you look happy, but it's all kind of a face that you're putting on. And you look at Sean and you're like, man, I think I'm going to call it. And at this
That's
point,
exactly what I said.
Yeah, you've run 24, probably 25 miles
25
at this
because
point.
there's that extra 0.25 miles. I was pretty close to 25 miles at that point.
So I'm guessing in your head you were justifying like, oh, I've probably run close to a marathon pace. There's my girlfriend. There's my friends. There's pizza. Let's just like call it a day.
Yeah. And also my coach Becky had told me that, not that she was, like in emails before the race, she said that even if you make it 3 laps, it would be great for your training.
Oh.
And so during that third lap, I was using that as like, I can't, I'm like, I don't think I could do a 4th lap, you know? Like and I'm like, I don't need a 4th lap, and a 4th lap will be bad for me. I thought like, I'm going to hurt my knees. I thought from all the times I tripped and almost fell, like I was like, if I've almost fell on this lap, I'm definitely going to fall on my 4th lap. So I was like, I just don't think I should do a 4th lap.
Yeah. And so you had a lot of good reasons not to do a 4th lap.
Oh,
and you came in ready to convince everyone that you shouldn't do it.
Maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours plus by yourself in the woods to think about why you shouldn't run another lap of 8 miles through the wilderness in 86, 90 degree weather.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me.
Oh my goodness.
But then you come in and you give your spiel about how you're ready to call it, and then Sean kind of steps in.
Yeah. I didn't expect that.
Do you remember what he said?
I don't know. He said a lot of things, but
yeah. So I remember because I wasn't fatigued and I was hydrated and I was fed and stuff like that. I mean, if you think about it, you've run as far as you've ever run before. You've reached 25 miles.
Further, a lot further.
Even if you had quit, it wouldn't have been an L necessarily. But I do think that it might have just stuck in the back of your mind.
Would have.
And it would have affected your confidence heading into the 100-miler that you have planned. But it was like a movie, literally, and I'm not even exaggerating, when Sean came in and looked at Josh, and Sean didn't tell everybody this. There were some people that he said, no, you can't do it, and you can't make it. Like, Sean was giving people his best advice, but he looked at Josh and said, Josh was there. It was 2:20. No, it wasn't 2:20. It was like 12:20.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah.
It was 12:20. Josh had until 3:30 to complete it. So you had plenty of time given your pace thus far.
Yeah.
And Sean came in, kind of reminded me of like Matthew McConaughey for some reason, and just looked at you and he's like, hey, he's like, gently but also firmly, like, say, you're not done.
I love that. I wish we had that.
Man.
Like,
I wish I recorded it. I got a couple stills,
it was like
pictures,
a motivational,
but it was very motivational. But he was also like being loving, but like firm at the same time. He grabbed your, what is that called?
Hydration vest.
Your hydration vest, put it back on you, filled it up with water, and said, "You're good to go." Literally patted
like
you on the back.
This is like a blur to me.
He also asked me it specifically.
Yeah, he's like, "How much Motrin have you taken so far?"
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, more than I would ever take.
Yeah, you're like
but
too much. And he was like, "Oh."
But he's like, that's nothing. Yeah. I told him, I was like, I've taken 4 Motrin, and like he's like, that's nothing. You could just because I mean I never take painkillers ever, so it was weird for me to be even taking them. So that's why I was like, I feel weird taking this many pills or anything. So it was weird,
dude. But I tell you what though, like that moment was so like such like a movie moment to me because I wanted to be the guy to tell you to keep going. Yeah. But at the same time, I knew how far you had come. And I also knew that I had never done anything like that before, so I didn't know what you were going through. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe some of the same thoughts were running through Jesse's mind because neither one of us really had a lot to say. And we would have loved you regardless, right?
Yeah.
But Sean, if Sean hadn't been there, I don't know if you would have kept going.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
And I looked to Jesse because I don't know. I care so much what she thinks. And she cares for me. So it was like she probably just would have told me like to do what I feel like, what feels best, because she didn't want me to like hurt myself or anything like that. But I don't know. She didn't say much, which is, like maybe that was her way of like, just like she was just, I don't know.
Well, that surprised me because
she's amazing.
I think most girls being in that position would go the sympathy nurturing route, and they would immediately try to say no, like, oh, come here, don't hurt yourself, like blah blah blah. But she was taking everything in. Mm-hmm. She was listening to Sean. She was trusting other people. I think she was like trying to understand what you really wanted. Mm-hmm. And I think she kind of like has a sense for like at your core what you really want. Yeah. And I think that's why she maybe stayed silent and then also kind of had like that encouraging vibe is what I got from her. And you were like, well, like maybe she does want me to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. And like Sean jumped right in. So it was like, I think everybody was just like watching Sean work. Yeah. Cause like, I got to show you this, this email from Becky too after this. Cause she just sent me this like encouraging email for like after, and she commented on, she's like, Sean just has like a good special way of doing that.
Oh, he does.
That was, I don't know, that was a gift.
Yeah, it definitely was a gift, and I've never seen that in person. I've only seen that in movies.
So I swear to you, it was like a movie.
It sounds so dramatic that we're saying this, but I'm
seemed dramatic though.
It was one of the coolest things I've ever witnessed.
It was,
and kudos to Sean. Weird. He's a special guy.
He is,
and I'm so thankful to have met him, and also to his wife Becky. If you guys don't know,
amazing
I think we said this at the beginning. They're his
really
running
great
coaches.
People. Yeah.
Specifically, Becky does most of the coaching, I think, but Sean definitely plays a big role.
Yeah.
And so
that's crazy.
So you decided to keep going, and I'm tracking you. I see that your pace is not too bad. And I'm like, man, he's going to do this thing. Like, you had plenty of time, and then eventually we get you coming across the finish line. I guess I want to know, what was it like that fourth time around? Like, were you pissed when you decided, like, okay, I guess I'm going to do this thing?
So I was going to comment on this before you started saying all of this, like, kind of at the, like, on the same tone of, like, encouragement, because every time you come into that finish line lap, like near the finish line to that aid station, you see all your family and friends, and you get all the food and everything, and you want to keep going regardless. So it was so weird that like third lap was so hard, and I wanted to quit, because you come in there and everybody's like, you see all these faces and you just want to keep going, but that was really hard. and like Sean pushed me through, but like usually it would be like pretty encouraging. So it was pretty nuts. But yeah, it's funny because I haven't shown anybody these yet. But I have these videos on my phone from like about the same place in the course each time. Like kind of, so we went to the rocky part together, you and I.
Yeah.
After that rocky part, you're kind of by Rock City and you're like coming down the hill, and it's kind of like just like the steady downhill rocky part, enough where I could get my phone out and not trip.
Yeah.
But I just said, and I don't know how you feel about this being on the podcast, but I'm like,
That's fine.
you don't fuck with boat crew too. I'm like, you can't fuck with
the
boat
Goggins
crew too. I was like, every single lap, I told myself
man.
that. Like, I was just like, and they're pretty strong, but they're all also at the beginning of the lap. So, but yeah, that final lap, my knees were giving me a lot of trouble. I'd taken another 4 Motrin to try to like get my knees to stop hurting, and it was like I didn't take any. It was awful.
Oh wow.
And there were points where, I don't know if this was the 4th lap, but like there was a point where like my quads and my hamstrings were just cramping up so bad, and I didn't know if it was because of my hydration or anything, but I'm like sitting on the ground like eating like a bag of salt. Like I had a bag of sea salt.
Oh
and
really?
I'm just getting a little bit of salt in me, and then like just drinking a bunch of water to see if it will help.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Like
That's
I've
insane.
I just don't like, I'm like, am I sweating out too much salt? Like, am I eating enough salt? Like, I was confused. And I don't know. A lot of that last 4th lap was walking, and just because my knees were so bad. I was gonna say also, I Snapchat videoed Tyler, and he gave me some good motivation. It was great.
Nice.
So that was good. So it
That's
got me
awesome.
going. But during that time, I had found 2 like walking sticks because my knees hurt so bad, and I was doing because I was doing a lot of uphill walking, and I was like, this will help like get me through this uphill part. But I didn't want to give up those sticks when I got to like a flat part.
Yeah.
So I think I like for a while, I'm glad I didn't run to like excuse me. I'm glad I didn't run into anybody, because I think I look like a creature, because I was just kind of like doing this like run walk through there, and I was like 4-legged thing with like 2
just trying to survive.
random sticks I found. Yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah, well, I did notice a lot of people doing that race with poles, which it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So they could try to avoid falling and things like that.
Also, there was a lot of there was like a lot of like points where I was just like kind of like out of it, like swaying and stuff. I told Jesse that I saw a rock on the ground. I thought it was an artichoke.
So you definitely
wanted to,
hallucinated
like,
a little bit.
Pick it up.
Wow.
Maybe. I kept seeing things. Also, well, it didn't help because like this one lady, like right in front of me, we met up at the middle aid station at about the same time. She was doing the 25K, and she had like the rattlesnake had almost like it had lunged at her and almost got her.
Yeah.
So like I kept having that in the back of my mind too. I'm like because they're really hard to see in those leaves and brush. They look exactly like the leaves. So it was like, I'm like, I can hardly focus on not tripping on this trail. So like looking for a rattlesnake is something right now. I don't know.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I was at the finish line, obviously, and racer after racer was coming in and saying like, oh, there's a snake, there's a snake, there's a snake. And so many people had pictures of it with their phone and stuff. And of course, like people were kind of worried, but at the same time, the people who were hosting the race was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" Because the name of the race was called Rattlerock.
Becky said it in her email about like the times and everything and the photos. She said that she's like, "I swear I didn't hire that snake to like because it did look probably bad for." I don't know. Those things are scary.
Yeah, that was pretty insane that someone almost got bit though.
Mm.
So I guess to try to wrap it up, what was the feeling like coming across after the 4th lap? You decided to finish, and you see everybody, they're cheering you on. I mean, what was that like?
Oh, it was awesome. Those drums too. Sean with the drums is awesome, because he really somebody saw me from like way off too.
Oh yeah.
because they were beating those drums like.
Well, your red vest, I was like, I think he's out there. Yeah.
I think he's out
Plus,
there.
I had that long lens.
I think he's out there. I was walking most of that before that. My knees hurt so bad. So like, that one guy that came in right after me, I passed him. He was walking too. His stomach was giving him like major issues, and mine was too. I couldn't eat anything.
Yeah.
But I had gotten like where I could barely see. There was like an orange sign where they put a road crossing, and I was like, I gotta just like run in style at least. So I was like, I gotta just run the rest of the way in. So
That's awesome.
So yeah, cause like, yeah, I don't know, those last, the final portion before you get to the roadside trail is like those power lines, and like it is just straight sun. And it's beating down on you, and it's so hot. So it was like, it just took it out of you.
Yeah.
And like, you just can't, I just could not drink enough water.
Yeah. So what is the first thing that you did after you and Jesse left? Did you go eat somewhere? What's the first thing you ate? Was it amazing, or what did you do? Fall asleep?
I'm like a really self-conscious person. So I was smelling myself the whole race. Like I smelled the worst I've ever smelled. So I'm like, dude,
I
I'm
didn't
like,
even
Jesse,
smell
you gotta,
I gave you a hug right afterwards. I didn't even know.
I was like I was like, you guys should not be hugging me right now.
Yeah.
I just knew I needed to get to a shower.
Yeah, that's all you were focused on, hygiene.
Yeah, Jesse took me to my house, and I got a shower, and like eventually like put a pizza in the oven.
Yeah.
I ate a bunch of pizza after the race too, and then I ate a whole pizza at home.
There you go.
And just drank a bunch of water. It was
Did your watch have like a calorie count on how much you burned?
It's like in the 4,000s probably.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Oh, almost 5,000.
Almost 5,000 calories.
4,800 calories, 33.3 miles in 8.5 hours ish.
Well, there you go, folks.
With a total,
that's all it takes.
Yeah, total
33 miles. Eat whatever you want.
Eat whatever you want. Honestly, like that does not take into account the weather either.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could technically burn a lot more calories in 90-degree weather than.
Oh yeah, that's true. You lost so much fluid.
Yeah.
Did you weigh yourself before and after? You don't really weigh yourself.
I never weigh myself ever.
Yeah.
So
makes sense. That'd be interesting
I
to
just
know,
don't.
though.
I don't know. Yeah,
Dang.
that's pretty wild.
So, what is your, I guess, perception of training and moving forward and preparing for this 100-miler? What's the 100-miler date?
November 5th, 2022.
So you feeling pretty good about it now?
Surprisingly, like even Jesse asked me this maybe yesterday. We were talking about it, and I was like, "It is. You don't understand. Like people look at it as like I only ran a third of my big race, and it was awful. But like it is such a relief in my mind to know I could run a third of that race.
Yeah.
And this was in like really harsh weather,
really tough
worse terrain than I will be running, I think.
Yeah.
In Rim to River, and I don't know. It just helped me out for sure, anxiety wise, everything. Like I just feel so much better having completed that.
That's awesome. I was wondering because in the weeks leading up to it, you kept telling me like, man, my anxieties, it's as bad as it has ever been.
It's ironic because sorry to interrupt.
No, you didn't.
It's just ironic because like the whole reason I'm running these races is for mental health. So it's like I saw my mental health deteriorating and I figured out that like part of it was because of this race, like over time, and like it didn't make any sense, you know?
Yeah.
But
so it was like this cathartic release, and now you feel like so much better moving forward.
I do feel a lot better. It's just like knowing that I could do that, and it's just
That's awesome. All right, man. Well, this won't be the last time that I have you on. I mean, we got to talk more and more. Yeah. I do want to kind of plug the 100-miler. I mean, you're not just running this for you. You're running this for some other stuff. So go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, I'm running for, like, in general for mental health because I think over the course of my lifetime, I haven't really taken into account how much I should be taking care of my mental health. And like, I've kind of repressed a lot of stuff and been taught to repress stuff. And like, I think it's important, you know? And, what do I want to say?
So how are people raising money, or how are you collecting stuff for
I have a
certain
GoFundMe.
organization?
Yeah. I have a GoFundMe, and I was searching for a while for like the best mental health organization, and it was hard. It's hard to find stuff around here, but like, long story short, I found a really awesome local nonprofit called Libera, and they help women and teens overcome barriers in their life and live in freedom. So it's they do like a ton of different things. They're involved in so much, but they just fuck.
Well, I know that they have. I know that Libera has like counselors on staff,
Yes.
and they work with women who are in troubled situations.
Mm-hmm.
They help to like rescue them in some ways, or
Yeah.
provide opportunities for them to escape some
Mm-hmm.
situations of abuse.
Exactly.
And a lot of what they do is kind of on the down low, because they're really kind of stepping into some dangerous situations
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and helping people that are in some dark places. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a mental health oriented organization.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 100%, 150%, and
Yeah.
it's so awesome that you're choosing to kind of put yourself through this experience, not just for you and what you're trying to accomplish, but for other people, and to
Mm-hmm.
bring awareness to that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really amazing what they do. They make like thousands of care packages for foster kids. Like, they do so many
Yeah,
cool
that's like another
things.
thing I didn't even realize that
They
they do.
do.
Yeah.
They're in like detention centers, counseling girls. It's just there's so much like that they're into. It's just amazing.
So people can
But yeah.
donate to that through your GoFundMe.
Yeah, we'll definitely link that.
Cool.
And yeah, you donate to the GoFundMe.
Awesome. Well, love you, man.
What else? Love you, guy.
And we'll post the donation link in the description if you're interested in supporting Josh and his efforts.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see more vlogs and some video and stuff like
we
that
gotta
of
get
this
more
journey.
Yeah, the
I'm
journey.
gonna get my butt out of walking and lifting mode, and maybe start running a little bit, so you guys will see some of that. And maybe I will be more helpful in Josh's training and preparation for his 100-mile ultra.
I'm gonna put you on the list as a pacer, just so
Oh
you're.
man!
So
Here we
you
go.
you have no choice.
Here we go.
He's
I'm
my
gonna have to
pacer.
start running. All right. Love you, brother.
Love you too, Brand. Nice. That was a good one.